Hi everyone, I'm Kimberly Dean from Kimberly Dean Designs, and today I'm going to be working with the Tim Holtz alcohol pearls, and I love working with these, especially on black. This is the alcohol ink Dura-Bright, which you can get from Ranger as well, and we're going to be using some alcohol blending solution and the snow cap mixative. We're just going to create a really pretty, colorful floral, kind of a fantasy-like floral, more on the abstract side. And I'm going to use my little Ranger blower here, alcohol ink blower. And we're just going to create some loose petals, and I'm going to show you how I use the snow cap mixative to create some dimension in the painting. So let's get started. Okay, so the first thing to know about the alcohol pearls is they do have this shimmery pigment inside, and if your bottle has been sitting, you might see that the pigment has settled on the bottom like that. So you do want to shake these really well, and when you shake them, you'll see that the pigment will mix in. There's a little ball inside. You should hear that rattle. If you don't hear that ball rattle, just tap your bottle on the table and it will start to loosen up, and you'll be able to see that it all mixes up well. Same thing goes for the mixatives. The snow cap's the same way. It has a ball inside. You want to make sure you shake these really well before you use them. All right, so another important thing about using the alcohol pearls is you want to always use alcohol blending solution with these. I have transferred mine into a little bottle like this, but you can also get these in the little 1/2 ounce bottles if that makes more sense to you. But you want to put them in something that has a small nozzle to release so you don't get too much. But this is a 2 ounce bottle, and you can buy this size and just transfer it, or either get the little 1/2 ounce bottles. So the reason for using this is because this helps these pearls adhere to your surface. These will not move the same with regular isopropyl alcohol, so you want to be careful not to use isopropyl alcohol with the alcohol pearls. You really do need to use a blending solution because this is going to help them smooth out more and adhere to the surface. All right, let's just start with this pink. This is called Intrigue. I'm just going to put down a little drop of this, then a little blending solution, and I'm just going to give it some air. I'm just going to blow it out with my little tool here. So I'm not trying for any specific shape, I'm just giving it a little air. Now I love these pearls, how they have that beautiful shimmer, especially on a black background. Again, this is the alcohol ink Dura-Bright synthetic paper. And in case you can't see this well, let me tilt it so you can see that shimmer. It depends on the lighting there. All right, so let's do that again. Let's put down a little bit more of this pink, some more blending solution. And I don't measure out my ink or my blending solution. I usually just use whatever seems to make sense. So it's not just a matter of a drop. You want to put a few drops down, like a little puddle, so that you can really get this ink to move. Now in certain light, it might not show up that well, but if you tilt it, you can see it. And as we begin to build our layers, you'll see it show up even more. I'm going to come around with that again. More blending solution, more air. And you can see I kind of go around the sides a little bit, each side, to shape it. Although I'm not being real particular about an exact shape, I do want to make it look like a petal. So I'm kind of moving my air around the edges and then back in the center. And I always keep blowing my ink until it's completely dry. If you let it dry on its own, you might get some unusual shapes. And so I like to continue to blow the ink until it's completely dry. With these little tools, alcohol ink blowers, you don't need to give it a ton of pressure. Don't need to wear yourself out with it. Just a little squeeze is all it needs to release enough air to really get the ink to flow. Okay, I'm going to turn my paper. I'm going to do that again. Let's do a little bit more over here. I'm leaving some empty space right there in the middle, and I'll show you why a little later as we get into this more, but I'm leaving a little bit of empty space right there, right in the middle. So I'm just repeating the same all the way around. I'll do one more little petal, pink petal right over here. And then we're going to start layering some other colors and just kind of see what kind of magic shows up, because I always feel like alcohol ink is truly magical. It does things that I've never experienced with any other mediums. You can get some really beautiful organic shapes with alcohol ink that you might see similar to watercolor, but this is a very different medium where you can get these, because the inks react with each other, so as they meet in different areas, you'll get some pretty shapes and really organic looking beautiful results. All right, so I've got some of my pink down now. Hopefully you can see that. I'm going to move on to this orange. I'm going to use a little bit of this purple first. All right, so this is Villainous. This is a really pretty color. Do the same thing. I'm going to put down a little purple Villainous, some blending solution, and right now I'm kind of going in between these little petals that I already had on my paper, and I'm keeping this really loose. So again, I'm not trying to create anything that looks super realistic. I just want to create something that looks fun and more whimsical. I'm going to come over here with a little bit of purple in this area. So I'm just going to kind of go in and fill in some space there. And these colors might look a little similar when they go down on the black, but you'll start to see some difference as we go along. Now, do you see how along the edges here where these inks meet, you'll start to get a hard line, which I think is really, really pretty, and it starts to make it have a little bit more definition in there. So a little bit more purple. And it's just blowing this, giving it little small puffs of air until it's completely dry. And let's go around, put a little bit right here. And the more blending solution you add, the further you can get that ink to move out. So if you have this is a 5x7 piece of paper here, but if you have, some further, more distance to move the ink, then you just need to put down more blending solution to get it to move a little bit farther. So already I think that's pretty there. If I tilt it, you can kind of see what's going on. But let's add a little bit of this orange. This is called Splendor. I'm shaking it really well. And I may not add it through the whole painting, but I want to just add a little bit of this in there and see what it will do to give us some more color and maybe some more depth. And again, you might not see these show up really well at first, but as we go, you're going to start to see what I mean by how these colors start to add depth. I'm just going to move around and do a little bit more of this orange, just in a couple more places. And again, this is called Splendor. You're starting to get some pretty little effects right in there. I think that's with those different colors that are meeting and creating those really organic lines in there. And pick any colors that you like. And I will say that, when you use complementary colors, just like with any other medium, it could start to get a little bit muddy. If you're using a red and green together, or a blue and orange, it could start to get a little muddy. So when you're picking your colors, just make sure you're picking colors that kind of blend well together. do a tiny bit more right here. Okay, so this is what we have so far. And then I think I'll do a little yellow. You don't have to add as many colors as I'm adding here. You could do it with just a couple of colors if you want to. But with this one, with this yellow, I'm going to show you what happens when you add a little bit of snow cap to this. This is a snow cap mixative. This is a white. Again, you want to shake this one really well. And I'm going to put down a little bit of my yellow. And then just a drop of snow cap. And then a little bit of blending solution. And then we're going to give that some air. Now, when you add that snow cap, it makes this a little bit more opaque. So you're going to get a totally different look with the snow cap. All right, so let's come around and do that again. So more of my yellow, a drop of snow cap, and some blending solution. And what is also happening is that it's going to pick up those colors underneath that we put down. So some of that purple and pink, maybe some of that orange if you get it in the right spot. And also where we had those hard lines, it's picking up some of that, so it looks like little veins maybe in the petals. I'm going to do that. And you can add your snow cap to any color that you want to. It doesn't have to just be your top color. I like that to do it this way just because it adds more depth. But you can, anytime you're using the pearls, you can always add your snow cap. And the pearls have this really pretty shimmer, which you can see in the light. When you add the snow cap to it, it's going to become a little bit more opaque, but you'll still get some of that shimmer that shines through there. All right, so more of my alchemy. So the yellow is called alchemy. I don't know if I mentioned that. And then some more snow cap. The more snow cap you add, the white, the more opaque the petals are going to be. And you can also control how opaque everything is by how much blending solution. So it's a good idea just to play around with it a little bit and get an idea of how transparent or how opaque you want everything to be. And I love how those colors are coming through like that. I think that's really pretty. And just trying to think, I'll do a little bit more right here. I have to stop and look at it and see what I feel like is needed when I'm going around. I might sometimes take a picture of it with my phone and just look at it and see if I need anything more. So here's what I have. And I kind of like this angle right here. And I like that I'm seeing, you know, my pearls that are showing back here that are more, you know, have more of that shimmer to them. And down in here. So I'm not going to cover all of that up. And now what I want to do is add something in the middle that's going to just give it more dimension. And I just usually rearrange. I just turn it around to see which direction I like it the best. I started to go that way, and I think now I'm thinking more I go this way a little bit. All right, we're gonna go like this. And I'm going to put my snow cap in a palette, little small palette. Then I'm going to use one of my these are little micro applicator tools. They're just little disposable tools. They're plastic. They have a little fuzzy tip on the end of them. I'm going to dip that into my snow cap. And then I'm just going to go in here and start adding some detail. And one of the reasons I left that empty space in the middle is because it's very dark in there, and that kind of helps me with some depth. So I can add some highlights here, and then I can leave some of this down here kind of dark. I'll come down with my snow cap, but also I'm going to leave it a little darker down in this area so that it creates some depth there. I've got this little bright area here. Sometimes I'll just try and play into things that happen with my ink like that. I might bring my center up a little bit higher just to use that as part of my light source, that little area. And you don't have to make it as big as this. So this is just kind of my style. I like the big centers when I'm creating flowers, but you don't have to do this. You can keep it smaller if you want to. Just everybody has their own kind of personal taste. So I like big and bold, and that's kind of the way I go with it. But you know, you could keep it smaller too if you like it to look a little bit more delicate. And now I might just kind of pull some little lines through here to just give it a little more energy. And that's basically it. That was a very quick little painting. And if you put the light on it, you can see that there's shimmer. Even underneath where I put that snow cap, there's still some shimmer underneath there, which is really, really pretty. And here where it doesn't have the white snow cap, you can see that shimmer even more. But that's it. If you have any questions when you're watching this, please reach out to me. I'm happy to answer your questions. I hope you'll give it a try. Thank you.